Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Phil, and I'm from Canine Company, and I'm joined by Michelle this afternoon. And we're here to talk about Canine Company and all the different solutions that we can provide to you. Just to give you a little background about myself, I've been with the company a little over 27 years now, and I've installed fences, I've trained pets, I've put in dog doors, done obedience training, and worked in almost any capacity you could possibly imagine when it comes to a dog and keeping them safe and contained and out of harm's way. Michelle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Michelle Perotti, and I actually came to work for the company just about 5 years ago. I came because I had the fence installed, and I got to tell you, when I had my console, I had somebody come down to the house. I'll never forget it because I was the naysayer, the poo-pooer. This is not going to work. It's not going to stop my dog. She chases after deer. She's got that hunting instinct. And I just remember saying to Dave, there's no way. And he said, I'm going to guarantee you that we're going to keep your dog contained. And I said, okay. And at the time, I made him write it down on the contract and I wanted his personal cell phone number. So if anything was to happen, I knew I could get back in touch with him. The fence got installed, the dogs got trained. We tested them. We would just wait for those deer to come, get the dogs fired up, and open up the door, just let them go. And every time, the dog would just stop. And I'm like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. And then I went to the website and read Jen Hill's story about Chloe. And I was like, oh my God, I have to go to work for this company. So it's kind of how it all started. I started out in sales and enjoyed every ounce of my growth throughout the company. So that's my story.
Yeah, and it's so funny because not unlike other companies, that we're clients as well as employees of the company. We get to
Right.
reap the benefits of all of the wonderful solutions that we can provide. I'm on my fourth dog now on a fencing system, and I can't even consider what my life would be like without having the fencing system and the solutions that we can provide to clients. Makes them happier, healthier,
Yeah.
more well behaved, and you know what? I have the peace of mind in these current circumstances if I'm working from home
Right.
or doing something like that, that I know that my dog is safe and out of harm's way. So it's just a wonderful, great company and wonderful solutions as well. So
Well,
the big thing I want to talk about today is some of our avoidance solutions. And I know you've used these a few times with yourself, Michelle. So
yeah, yeah. So I actually have 3 units that I use, and even though that my pups have been on the fence for over 5 years, I didn't put them on the fence right when I got the fence, or I didn't put them on the indoor units when I got the fence. I put them on a couple years later for different reasons that kind of popped up as I was figuring out that hey, this is a great solution for that. So I have one cat and two dogs that um, are different rules for different pets. So the cat has one area that she's not able to go to, and the dogs have areas that they can't go to, but they also are crossed over as well. So it's an amazing tool that you can use for, cat litter boxes. Have a tough time with the dogs going to the cat litter boxes, eating the cat food, you name it, destroying the furniture. I remember when I made the decision to first do the indoor unit, it was for my cat. And so this cat is she's great looking cat, but extremely destructive throughout the house. And so I just redid this beautiful room, had this brand new leather furniture put in it, and I hear the claws going on the furniture. And I'm like, oh my God, this cannot be. So that's when I said, that's it. And I put the indoor unit in. I called my friend Dave up and I said, I need training for this cat. And lo and behold, we got her trained. She cannot go up to the great room at all. She tried, but she quickly went the other way, and my furniture has been saved.
Yes, it's funny how these solutions come to us and how I didn't start with avoidance products either when we first got our first dog. But our most recent dog, Boomer, who's a big, happy yellow Labrador, about maybe 90 to 100 pounds worth of just sheer love and joy, he started to develop some of these behaviors when he was a puppy. We had a brand new dining room set that I got my wife, and we put it in. And one day I was looking over and I heard something off on the side, and he's gnawing at the leg of the new dining room table that we just got. So that was our first one. And when I realized that, you know what, we can also have the ability to not only have these discs, this is the disc that I used originally. Basically, what it does is it's got a rechargeable battery. You plug it in for 3 or 4 hours and it lasts 30 days or more on a charge. And it creates this kind of ball of signal. Okay. Now, the ball was protecting the dining room table, but then he started to move on to the legs of the tables. So then what I ended up doing was attaching wire to the back side of the disc right here to run it underneath the entire area rug in the dining room to exclude him from the dining room table and then the chairs.
Great
So
idea, Phil. Great idea.
really adaptable and can be, used for whatever your needs might be. And then as soon as my wife saw how wonderfully this worked to keep Boomer out of the dining room table, it was just an escalation of where can we use this and how can we use this to our advantage moving forward.
I remember this one client in particular because this dog was a rescue dog under the age of 1. And some of the issues is it wasn't keeping him contained. They already had the fence. But what they wanted to do was the dog kept getting up onto the counter and into the sink, stealing the knives and stealing glass. He was a glass chewer. And then he would get up on the dining room table and take the light bulbs out of the chandelier and chew those. So what it led us to do was it was either that or the dog was going to eventually be hurt. So we had to come up with something. So we actually mixed the products up a little bit. We used the circular disc for the table, so he couldn't get on the table to get to the chandelier. And then we actually used the strips that we use for the door.
The invisible shield gate.
We used a couple of those on the counter. So it was a consistent, rather than being a sphere, it was actually now a strip. So we put 3 on the counter, created the signal field that would come out far enough that it would, if the pup tried to jump up on the counter, he would be deterred from that immediately.
So during the pandemic, toilet paper became a pretty precious commodity. Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing that our dog liked to do was go in and unravel the toilet paper off of the toilet paper dispenser. Now, it was absolutely adorable when he was a puppy and the first time it happened. But when toilet paper became more difficult to procure, we actually ended up putting one of these little discs by the toilet paper dispenser in the bathroom to prevent him from doing that. So,
nice.
and we've graduated to have them, let's see, in the dining room, the toilet paper dispenser, the pull and spring recycling bottle area. I have another one that's underneath the kitchen table because one afternoon he climbed up on top of the kitchen table. My son was having a snack and playing a game, and he was on top of the kitchen table. If you can envision this 90-pound plus Labrador on top of the kitchen table, and I walked in, he's like, well, what am I doing wrong? And unfortunately, I was working at the moment, so I didn't get to it quite in time. But yeah, he's a bundle of energy. He's a really good dog, but we just have some of those behaviors that we want to work on, and I can't always be there to help discourage that. So these are great for solutions like those to, take place when I can't be there, when it's just my son there or something like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So there was one application that I use for my dining room as well. Is it's so funny is it's usually the dining room or the kitchen that our dogs get in the most trouble, right? But I remember I waited a real long time for this beautiful braided rug, a long time, and it's handmade, hand dipped, and if it was soiled in any way, it was going to be destroyed, and I knew it. So I wasn't even going to take the chance. So this is one that I actually set up underneath the table, created the 6-foot wide signal field enough so that it covered all areas of my rug, but the dogs and cat could still walk through into the room. They just couldn't go onto the rug. And what ended up happening was one of the dogs was like not even bothering. It's like, yeah, it's not worth it. And just going around finding another direction to go. So.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. We've loved them so much. We actually keep a floater around that we use for different applications that pop up periodically. Like this time of year with the holidays coming up, there will be a holiday tree that takes up temporary residency in my living room in another couple of weeks. And, we don't want the dog eating the ornaments or the presents, or marking the tree that's taken up temporary residency in
Right,
our living
right.
room or anything like that. So we have one that we kind of reserve for that. Or currently that floater is guarding a Lego set that my son and I are building. When I was his age,
Yeah.
they didn't have like $300 Lego sets that take you 3 and 4 days to build. But in the process, if left to his own devices, our dog would probably jump up on the table and destroy all of our hard work. So we use one that we kind of keep moving around periodically for applications. And that's the beauty of it. Even if there's an area where normally you want your dog to be, but suddenly there's something new that's happened to the environment, whether it's a holiday tree or a Lego set on a craft table, or even just putting some hors d'oeuvres temporarily out on a coffee table,
Right.
around the holidays when you're having a gathering. Put the disc in place. Show the dog that it's there. They don't feed on holidays, appetizer platter like it's their personal buffet. And
Right.
that's the great thing, because it makes me look like I have the best behaved dog in the world, where clearly I do not.
Right, right. Right. So, you know what? On that note, I will share you the story that I had of this client. I'll never forget it. This dog was just a puppy, and he really wasn't this client's dog. It was really the family's dog. He never kind of claimed it as his, and he said, "You know what? Alls I want to do is come home after a long day of work, sit in my recliner and have a beer." He said, and I can't because the dog is all over me as soon as I walk in the door. So, what he ended up doing was purchasing one of these indoor desks, putting it underneath his recliner. So, anytime that he was in the recliner, the dog could not come near him. And it gave him that space that he needed just to have his beer, and then he could enjoy his dog. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. One of the ironic things is that I started with all these indoor solutions, but I never even thought that I would need one for outside, because the dog was outside and running around loose. But it's become a tradition in our house that every spring for Mother's Day, I plant my wife an herb garden, and it has
Nice.
mint for her mojitos and cilantro for her guacamole, and oregano and all that stuff. The first year that I did it with Boomer, our new dog, no sooner than did I plant the garden than about a half an hour later, he had gone through and eaten every herb that was in this lovely herb garden. So I'm a little disappointed with all of our hard work. So what I ended up doing that following Monday when I came back to work, I ended up getting one of our rock avoidance transmitters. It works the exact same way that the indoor disc works, only it's powered by 4D batteries, but it still creates that ball or sphere of
Right.
signal, and you can adjust the range so that on the herb garden, on a portion of our deck, there where the herbs are, great. I put the
Yeah.
rock over there, and it keeps him from. So I got the rock before I planted the herb garden the second time, because I didn't feel like going for a third herb garden.
Right,
But now,
right.
and now that the winter's coming, the herb garden's not going to be there. I can take the rock away, and he can go over to that portion of the deck again, but just not near the herb garden and the little tomato plants and things of that nature.
Right. I did find another application for mine outside as well. Is the dogs were out uh, digging, and they came across a bunny's hole. And there was all these baby bunnies there, and I didn't want the dogs to mess around with them. So
Yeah.
I just put the indoor I actually use my indoor unit briefly just to keep them out. You shouldn't, because it's not weatherproof, but I stuck it in a Ziploc bag just to protect it until I could get those bunnies moved. But I put it there, and the dogs didn't go near it, left the bunnies alone. And I'll tell you, it was afterwards. I've noticed that one of my dogs, Gracie, just wasn't going into that area at all, even though the disc wasn't there anymore. But she's like, "Yeah, I'm all set. I know, I know what that area looks like."
We'll stay away from the bunnies.
Right, right.
Let them go in peace. Yes.
So,
Excellent. Excellent.
so you had mentioned earlier that you had a floater for inside your house.
Mm.
I have to share with you what my floater is. Okay. So I also have a floater, and it is located by my robot, the floor cleaner robot, because that's where my plug is. So I keep charging. So I'll rotate my chargers so that there's always one plugged in that area, and then I move the other ones to the areas that I want them to be at. But funny story is the reason why there's one at this robot is because this cat that I said was a little challenging at times is she did not make friends with this robot, and she actually was pretty destructive. She found her way to the robot's um, kind of his base, and peed and pooed in it. So it would just totally, oh yeah. Could you imagine
I think
my
I see where this is
surprise?
going.
Yeah, can you imagine my surprise when my house is usually, it smells really good. No matter how many animals that I have in it, you never tell that there's an animal until this robot that is carrying cat feces all around this house
Yes.
because it's rolled into it once or twice already and I didn't
Oh,
know it.
goodness
Oh,
gracious.
yes. So I said, "That's it. That's off limits." And I put one of those indoor units right at the base of the robot and
Mm.
created a 6-foot wide signal field. So the dogs don't have a problem going there, but she is not allowed even to go close to this thing. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, thankfully, that's something that will never happen again. Fingers crossed, hopefully.
I think she's learned her lesson. I have also considered putting one on top of the robot, so it kind of like will chase her around the house. But yeah,
That could be interesting to watch. Yeah.
if she didn't like the robot before, she's not going to like it now.
I was
So
going to say, especially now.
yeah.
So that's the great thing is we do have all of these different solutions, and all these solutions can be viewed on our website at www.caninecompany.com. They can be viewed and looked at on our mobile app, which is free to download in the App Store. If you just go to your App Store or Play Store, if you're using an Android, and type in Canine, C-A-N-I-N-E, it'll come up Canine Company. It's a white and maroon paw print. You can always give us a call. We always love to talk with you about your dogs, your situation, provide solutions. Our numbers, again, 1-800-818-DOGS, easy enough to remember. So 1-800-818-3647. But especially this time of the year, and especially given the circumstances that we're living in, which unfortunately we're living in, there's lots of things going to be happening. And if we can be of any help, of any service to provide solutions, whether, they're indoor solutions to protect your, robot vacuum cleaner or your coffee table or your herb garden or whatever else you might need, we want to be here to help you guys. So is there anything else you can think of, Michelle, before we wish everybody a happy holiday season?
Yeah, I think we covered it, Phil. I think, yeah, she has some experiences and how we effectively keep our pups and cats away from these areas. And, hopefully somebody might come up with an idea. And even if somebody could share a new idea, something kind of,
Yeah.
right? Come up with an idea that we haven't thought of or a real creative idea of how we can use these so that we can share them also with our clients. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah. So we all want to be happy, healthy, and safe during the upcoming holiday season. That goes for our pets as well. So it's been a pleasure speaking with you this afternoon, Michelle. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and as to we hope all of our fellow canine clients as well. All right.
Awesome.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, Phil.
All right. Bye-bye.